The storm began as it always did, not with thunder or wind, but with a song. Soft, distant, and impossibly layered, like voices carried through water. In the small Maine town of Hallow's End, everyone knew what came next. The lights would flicker, the air would turn ice cold, and by dawn, someone would vanish. No one knew where they went. Doors locked from the inside, dinner plates untouched, the scent of rain still lingering on empty rooms. Families would whisper of lost footsteps. Faint choruses heard in the night, and those who lived there long enough understood one rule: never listen too closely. Because once you heard the hymn, it remembered you. For decades, the townsfolk learned not to hum along, not to linger when the wind began to sing. But when Father Gabriel Quinn returned, the priest who had walked away from his faith, he broke that rule. He came back during the rain, recorder in hand, faith in ruins, driven by the disappearance of his younger brother Michael. He would find out what the town had buried. And when he pressed play on the tape he recorded, what he heard wasn't static. It was his brother's voice, singing back. Hallow's End wasn't on many maps worth remembering. A forgotten speck off the Maine coast, half fishing village, half graveyard of fog and regret. The sea never rested. It moaned against the cliffs like something alive. The air always smelled faintly of brine and smoke, and the waves below carried the whispers of storms past. Above it all stood St. Bartholomew's Church, charred and crooked, the only survivor of a fire that gutted it 50 years ago on Christmas Eve, the night the children's choir burned alive. Locals said lightning struck. The priest said punishment. Others whispered something worse. The melody had been forbidden since the Reformation. A song no mortal was meant to sing. After the fire, the storms began. That same faint hymn drifted through the wind-soft, wordless, layered. When people heard it clearly, they felt compelled to kneel, to whisper long-buried secrets. Already shivering from guilt or fear, they confessed in the dark. Then by morning, no body, no blood, just silence and the faint smell of smoke. It wasn't grief that haunted Hallow's End, it was shame. Everyone had something to confess, and the hymn always found a way to make them remember it. Gabriel had once believed. Before the exorcisms that shattered him, before the accusations that fractured his church, faith had become a cage. He left. But when Michael vanished, Gabriel's disbelief cracked. He came to Hallow's End with a rosary, a voice recorder, and a question he first asked as a seminarian. What if the Song of Angels wasn't a salvation but judgment? He arrived on the night the clouds opened, rain hammering like the sea itself was falling. He crossed the cracked wooden porch of the rectory, past peeling paint and old hymnals damp in the cold. He sat up near the old cemetery behind the church, where the stones leaned like tired watchers. He pressed record. At first, the wind. Then almost imperceptible, humming. Then children's voices, layered in perfect, unnatural harmony. A lullaby without words, ancient, deliberate. In his car, he played the tape. Rain cocooned the steel roof, the windshield blurred. He reversed the audio and froze. The melody was not random, structured, coded. Enochian, the lost language of angels. A phrase repeated again and again. Confess and be unbound. The phrase struck him like scripture twisted inside out. He brought the recording to the town's last surviving witness of the fire, Agnes Merrow, once the organist of St. Bartholomew's, scarred by memory. Her house smelled of wax, smoke, and damp. When he played the tape, she stared at it like it held her sins. "They never meant to sing that song," she whispered. It wasn't in the hymn book. Agnes told Gabriel that the priest of the fire night had been experimenting, rewriting sacred music with the language of forgiveness. He believed he could purge the town's sins before the new year. But instead, he called something down. "They sang for mercy," Agnes said, voice thin. "Mercy never came." "The fire did." Gabriel asked what she heard before the flames. Her hands trembled. "It wasn't a choir anymore," she said. "It was something inside the music, breathing between the notes. The song forgives nothing. It only listens. That night Gabriel climbed through the ruins of the church. The pews were half buried in ash. The altar cracked open like bone. The walls were black with smoke, but faintly carved symbols lingered under the soot. Not scripture, but circles of runes. Under the shattered choir loft, he pressed record again. Lightning flickered through the collapsed roof. Rain threaded through the skeleton of beams. He waited. At first, wind. Then the voices returned, dozens of them. High, pure, overlapping in eerie precision. The melody rose and fell like the tide. Gabriel clutched his cross, heart pounding. He called, "Michael, are you here?" The hymn paused. A single voice broke through the swarm, small, familiar. "Gabriel, it's beautiful here." Then the recorder sparked. The lights died, every candle extinguished in the same breath. He awoke with ash in his hair, the smell of burnt wood in his lungs. The recorder still hummed. He hit play, static, then breathing. Then Michael's voice, forgiving the wind. The choir hummed underneath. Over the next days, Gabriel analyzed frequencies. The choir wasn't singing, the stone itself was vibrating. The church was an instrument, its dead chords tuned in ash. Every cycle of the hymn shook the ground. The pattern matched diagrams he'd seen in forbidden liturgies, ritual runes, subverted chants. This hymn didn't ask for forgiveness, it demanded substitution. He recalled Michael's last words. "I couldn't live with what I'd done. I wanted to make it right." Gabriel realized. Michael hadn't disappeared randomly. He'd been chosen, not punished, offered. Gabriel returned once more, bringing a countertape, his own recording of the hymn, reversed and bound with Latin prayers. He placed speakers beneath the ruins and pressed play. The response tore through the night. The wind howled. The choir screamed through the static. Then shapes emerged in the firestorm above the choir loft. Children of smoke and flame, twisting in suspended song. One stood clear. Michael, calm flame amidst chaos. "Let them go," Gabriel pleaded. Michael's eyes were silent. "Someone has to sing." The hymn softened into a lullaby. Michael dissolved into light. The fire died. The storm ended. For the first time in 50 years, Hallow's End slept. By dawn the church lay in ruin. Stone and ash. Gabriel knelt alone. He didn't speak, but his recorder glowed in his lap. When investigators played it, they heard one last verse, a single voice, neither child nor man, whispering, "Confess and be unbound." If that gave you chills, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell, because the next story might just be about the song you can stop hearing.